This episode of Mystery Ranch International is brought to you by Just for Men, the Al Qaeda edition. When you are looking gray and haggard after denying your involvement in an act of terror multiple times, but then want to look younger a month later when you take credit for the same said act of terror on a VHS tape found by the CIA, it's Just for Men Al Qaeda edition. Why settle for 72 virgins when you can have all the virgins? It's Just for Men Al Qaeda edition, because in the Islamic world, it's all just for men.
What's up, Mr. Ranchers? What's up?
What is up?
This has been a long time coming. We're coming up on the September 11th, 21st anniversary, and we just chilling up here at the Northern Alliance compound, baby, where there's weapons and development technologies going on. So,
We're in the Gentleman's Lounge.
yes, we are. You want to tell them what we're doing tonight?
We're going to talk a little bit about 9/11. I've never wanted to believe some of the things we're going to talk about, but I mean, it's in your face big time, so it's kind of hard not to.
Yep.
We're going to do a few things after this episode, like the next episode. If we talk about a few numbers tonight, we're going to do numerology later, so you'll understand the importance of why we keep repeating these numbers.
That sounds boring, okay? But look at it like this. Once you learn the Kabbalah's Jewish number system, then the Super Bowl's coming up, okay? So, and we will get into that, but people, y'all would be absolutely amazed. What is that phrase? It's millionaires, they look at the stock market, and billionaires study the stars. And we're not telling y'all to be no Satanists or Luciferians. But we're just trying to point out that there are hidden agendas and people behind the curtain that believe what we're about to talk, not necessarily tonight, but that could be behind some of this stuff. Now, whether they did it or whether they actually knew it and allow it to happen, all the stuff we're talking about tonight is pretty much like Wikipedia friendly. Or Google friendly. This is all basic,
Easy to find stuff.
So, in saying that, if stuff that we talk about tonight is scary and just halfway true, you will be disturbed, I would think. Right, Michael?
I think so.
All right. I'm going to jump into this. This is a notes taken. This is from a documentary. It's called Loose Change. And it came out 2004, just a couple years after September 11th, and it gets into timelines, and it gets into like what the World Trade Center's construction-wise. It gets into a few different anomalies that happen all throughout the day of September 11th. And so we'll get started. All right.
Going to the numbers real quick.
Yeah.
Because the Pentagon was hit that same day. The construction of the Pentagon also started on September 11th of, I don't even remember what
41.
year. 41, I believe that's right.
Exactly 60 years.
Yeah, so that's interesting in itself that the Pentagon construction was on a September 11th. But anyway, we'll talk more about that next episode.
Yeah, I really like, before we get started, but like the numerology part of it, that's the reason me and Michael, we chose to do this right here. We're going to do an introduction we're just going to point out basic anomalies. But like the numerology part, I look at it, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So people the bad people that Mystery Ranch fights against believe in magic, and I never realized how much number stuff is used for magic.
And we're gonna point that out. Yeah. All right. Yeah. First things first. Let's get through this right here, and bear with me. I did a presentation to Michael earlier just to kind of run through.
I was so disappointed. He's done a lot of work. It's going to be good.
But he talked me into running through what I was going to run through to y'all, and he's going to keep me straight and not ADD out too much. Try to. That's a hard task, but bear with me on these.
The first little bit.
Toward the end, it will all kind of come together somehow. All right. So this is called Chapter 1 in the documentary. So it starts off with, it says, September 11th, 2001. U.S. government says it has overwhelming evidence that bin Laden is responsible for 9/11.
That's actually September 13th.
September 13th.
After 9/11.
What did I say?
September.
Okay. So this is 2 days after September 11th.
First sentence I got to keep it straight, but that's all right.
Thank you. And so this is on CNN Live. Afghanistan Taliban news conference in Pakistan. September 13th, 2 days after. They offered to turn over bin Laden to the U.S. if they have evidence, and they'll let him stand a trial. They say, yeah, sure. Like, if he did this, 100% on board, we'll give him to you. This is a quote from them. If the America has these evidences and proofs, they should produces it. And we are ready to have these trials of the Osama bin Ladens. So that right there in itself just tells you that they was on board. That is true. Okay, so anyways, September 23rd, 01. Colin Powell says government will soon produce this case. Okay. The next day, the actual press secretary is trying to pull and reel in Colin Powell's statements. Like, whoa, what's the definition of is? You know, like soon could be 72 years. So yeah, sure, we'll have a evidence to you soon. Okay. So
just don't ask about it ever.
Don't ask about it ever again. So after September 11th, there are 3 outside U.S. media sources where Osama bin Laden adamantly denies that he had any involvement. He says that's not his style. That was women. This is a civilian target. He is for military targets, etc. For whatever's that worth. So he's denied it 3 times right out of the gate after September 11th. All right. December the 13th, 2001. A couple months after September 11th. The Department of Defense releases a tape of bin Laden found in a Jalalabad, Afghanistan house. On the tape, bin Laden describes the attacks of September 11th with other Taliban leaders. He does not admit to doing them. He is merely just having a conversation about it. And so...
First of all, if we do get a VHS tape with some Sharpie on it, and the CIA produces it, then we can feel good that it is bin Laden.
Yes, exactly. So, the mainstream media and Bush will portray this video as absolute proof of his involvement. So, that's a shaky evidence from that's long from Colin Powell's a couple months ago statement that we're going to produce evidence. So far, there's not very much evidence. Okay. And on this tape right here, international establishments question the authenticity of this tape. So right out of the gate, the production of CIA and Department of Defense tapes of Osama bin Laden, the rest of the international community is really not behind them so far. December the 26th, 2001. A high-level Taliban official claims he has attended the funeral of Osama bin Laden. I'm pretty sure this was in Al Jazeera news. This was after lung complications, and he died at Tora Bora. The next day, December the 27th, 2001, a video surfaces of bin Laden. This is the famous video of him with the Timex watch. I remember going to Walmart trying to get one of these. just out of curiosity because that's where they sold them. And he had on the sweet M65 wooden camo jacket and a short AK-74 with the Bakelite magazine, Russian Bakelite magazine. Everybody, I would say pretty much everybody has seen this video. That's,
or at least the picture of it.
That's 30 years
like
old
that.
or so. Okay. Yeah, or at least a picture or something. So, it's interesting that the day after Taliban officials say that they're attending his funeral is when the video is being released. So that's an anomaly. That's pretty weird timing. You know.
Of course, they could be trying to give us disinformation.
Of course, 100%. So look at this is a two-way street. We're looking at everything. So automatically, this, I mean, it's not necessarily highly suspicious. It's weird, timing-wise and stuff. So, anyways, let's keep going. So, in this video is where he supposedly praises the attacks, and it was supposedly made on November the 19th, 2001, because it's written in Sharpie. On this physical video VHS tape that the Department of Defense came up with. So he praises the attack but takes no responsibility. Okay. So October the 29th, 04, the next video appears. This is right before the Jim Kerry elections with Bush. John Kerry. Yeah. So this suspiciously just turns up right before the elections to boost that patriotism. Just a coincidence. It is described as the clearest claim for the responsibility. I'm not necessarily off the top of my head familiar with it, but I'll take this documentary's word for it. So when FBI is questioned about why bin Laden's most wanted poster doesn't indict him with involvement about 9/11, the chief of investigation for publicity of the FBI replied, "The FBI does not have any hard evidence connecting bin Laden to 9/11. As he pointed out earlier, I know all through the 2000s, all through the 2000s up to 2010, you would see wanted posters, just in movies in general, or I saw them at the post office.
I believe the movie Hannibal, which is like a sequel to Silence of the Lambs,
2004.
They put Hannibal Lecter on there, and as it pans up to show him, you got bin Laden on there, on the top 10 most wanted.
And if you pause that, movie and look at it, it will not say anything about 2011 or September 11th. So that's weird. Okay. So what evidence do they have for Saudi hijackers carrying out these attacks? Let's look at that.
And I'm still confused why Saudi hijackers
are
the reason we go to Afghanistan and Iraq. But anyway.
Yeah. So I mean, like, that's an anomaly. If you sit down and if you put this on a conspiracies like little yarn board, and it's like, okay, we got all this stuff with Afghanistan already and bin Laden. So why does the yarn go from bin Laden to Saudi hijackers? We don't know. All right. So what evidence do they have? So let's look. They got 2 bags belonging to Muhammad Atta. He's one of the most familiar names I've always remembered, just Muhammad Atta. He's kind of the leader. Okay, so like if he was the captain of the squad, that'd be this dude. He had 2 bags belonging to him, checked in at Portland Airport, but they failed to make final departure. So these bags were supposed to be on the plane that he used in the attack, okay? What's in the contents? Let's look. He's got a 757 video tour. He has a flight manual. He has an Arab to English dictionary. He has a handheld flight computer. I have no idea what that would be. I imagine some kind of maybe laptop simulator or something, okay? So he's got his Quran, and he has his only legal will for whenever he dies in this bag that's supposed to be on the airplane with him.
Which, if you're going to blow yourself up, I would assume would be lost, so I don't know.
I would have left it with the lawyer, personally. But, to each his own. I'm not going to tell a man how to carry his will around and everything, so, Anyways, if he was a smart terrorist, he wasn't a very smart legal paper holder. Okay, so let's move on. That was it on that guy. Marwan Al-Sh.
But luckily, I mean, and airports are known to lose luggage or get it delayed and have to resend it. But it is very convenient that all those items are in that bag to show that he was the hijacker. But go ahead.
So Marwan Al-Shaikhi.
And this stuff seems generic, guys. Bear with us here for just a second.
So this is a rental. This was found in a rental car left at Logan Airport underneath his name, and these were his items. Okay, flight manual, airport restricted area pass. So that's a restricted area in the airport that you can't go unless you have a pass. He had documents from Hoffman Aviation. That is a shady aviation school in Florida. All right. So let's move on to this goober, Nolof Al-Hassi. His rental car. It was at Dulles Airport. He had Muhammad Atta's, I think, somehow either written out or printed out instructions of to-do list plan for 9/11.
I'm sure he signed at the end so that we know it was his.
So yeah,
because he's the ringleader, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's what the ringleader does. I mean, he's going to take care of his man. So, anyways, he's got a check for the flight school that in Phoenix, that he took to get his pilot's license. He had 4 drawings of a 757 cockpit, I guess, just to make sure. He had a knife, a map of Washington, D.C. and New York, and a cosmic color unicorn 12-inch dildo. And
going back to the pictures of the cockpit, I guess there was just an arrow pointing to the front of the plane, so he knew where the cockpit was.
Yeah. So we have there's that goobers. We're done with him. Saddam Al-Qusaymi's passport is found right below the Twin Towers after the very first plane flew into Tower 1 with Flight 11. So he was the pilot, if I'm not mistaken. He was either the pilot or in the cockpit of Flight 11, the first plane to hit the Tower 1 on September 11th. It went through the building, outside the other thing, and landed 100 yards or so on the outside of the street.
Which I guess could be possible, maybe.
It could have been a titanium passport. So
the thousands of degrees that it was burning months later wouldn't have.
No, yeah.
But if it's outside the building, it's outside the building.
So I mean, like, now we're looking at physical anomalies. That's a physical anomaly, okay? I would define that as, okay? A passport.
I think slightly possible, but a physical anomaly.
It could be 100%. It could be possible. I mean, like, I don't know, because these are all new things that happen on this day. So that could either be used to nefarious people's advantage, or could be, like we're talking about right now, just a weird coincidence, All right, we'll move on. Saddam Al-Qusaymi's passport found. So yeah, it survived the 450 mile per hour and 9,000 pounds of jet fuel. So yeah, Muhammad Maquette and Al-Wahasi. ID cards discovered in wreckage of Pentagon. It was interesting that there was no plane, but they did find their cards.
I never saw a picture of the plane. Well, we saw the one camera that came, the plane flew in from the side or whatever.
And in a legal court of law, that is not seeing a plane flying into a building. I would be a lawyer, and I could be able to argue that, I would think. So Saeed Al-Gandhi's passport. Ahmed Anami's driver's license, passport, and photos. And it's nondescript in what their description of photos are, so I don't know if these are Polaroids.
Selfies.
Or whatever.
Selfies were probably just brand new.
Yeah. So, and also a cardboard or regular run-of-the-mill business card found in, I think, of a flight school, found in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, even though they didn't have no airport.
Maybe there were pictures of some of their Saudi wives, where you couldn't even see their face, just see their eyes with their,
or
caterings on or something.
Or what they were doing in their 6 days leading up in that hotel room. So we don't know.
Pictures of their favorite goat.
I don't know. I mean, good point. So a former high-level intelligence officer commented in New York Mag on October the 1st, 2001, in What Went Wrong by Seymour Hersh. Whatever trail was left intentionally for the FBI to chase. Well, that's an interesting quote. What does he mean by that? So that means evidence? Because if you're the FBI, what are you going to find? You're going to go to the field, you can go find evidence. So
sounds like we got just the right amount of evidence to show who everybody is.
Yeah, so this is 100% Saudi Arabia. And I'm not, listen, full disclosure, I'm not paid by Saudi Arabia. And and I really don't agree with what they're doing in Yemen right now, personally. But so I don't have a horse in the race at all. And but if we're gonna call stuff by it is, that can lead up to a big picture and bigger clues. So yes, it sounds like this guy is saying that evidence is planted to point to a certain direction. And so anyways, as we'll find out later on in the investigation, that all this evidence pointed is going to lead them not to anywhere near to what they thought it was going to do. So anyways, let's move on. Robert Mueller, we've all heard that feller's name. So on April 19th, 2002, money was sent in small amounts. Okay, clarify, Robert. But Lieutenant General Mahmoud Mohammed, director of Pakistani Inter-Services Intelligence Agency, wired $100,000 to Muhammad Atta in August 2000. What's he doing that for? So Pakistan.
You're saying money in small amounts were sent to these guys?
Yeah. So Robert Mueller, in April 2002, in a state, they were like, well, how do these guys get all these planes, out all these flight schools? How do they do all this? They didn't have no jobs. They weren't earning money. Where'd the money come from? And Robert Mueller's response was, money was sent in small amounts. So, okay. But then it comes to find out that this Lieutenant General Mahmoud, director of Pakistani Inter-Service Intelligence Agency, wired $100,000 to the captain, Muhammad Atta, in August 2000. Well, that's weird. Okay, we haven't even heard about Pakistan. We got Afghanistan, we got Saudi Arabia. Anyways.
So hold on. So Robert Mueller could be involved in some shady stuff here, you're saying?
Well, I don't want to point no fingers or nothing.
And everybody knows him for the beginning of some of President Trump's investigations. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure he's just a wonderful fellow.
If you actually, and this could be natural or this could be nefarious, but a lot of players that make this storyline happen from the 9/11 terrorist attack go on to be great big things. Okay, that's just that could have been naturally, like, hey, you did a real good job on that attack, like as in like handling it, like we got attacked, we're taking care of it now, and I did great, or like, hey, thanks for covering
our tracks,
my ass, So anyways, keep that in mind. So anyways, so far I don't see any evidence personally. I don't really see. I see trails going every single way. I see money being wired from another country I hadn't even heard about yet. Okay. So this was transferred to Shahid Sheikh, the man who kidnapped and murdered the Daniel Pearl reporter. This was a thing. Don't quote me, but everybody's probably heard about this. But this was when the internet gore was getting really big, 2010ish. And that reporter got killed and beheaded on TV. That's that guy. So, Shahid Sheikh was the bag man between Muhammad Atta and Lieutenant General Mahmoud Mohammed, the director of Pakistani intelligence. So that's weird. That's an anomaly, I would say. So
Come on, get some good stuff. Get some good stuff.
I know. Hang in there. So ISI, the International Inter Service, has a long-standing relationship with the CIA, dating back to the 1980s, with the establishment of Mujahideen in Afghanistan, who involved into Al Qaeda. So, well, now, okay, we have a CIA involvement by default. This guy, Mahmoud, the Pakistani Lieutenant General, is a bagman for the CIA. So, all right, we're getting ties established, right? Even so, Mahmoud was actually in D.C. on 9/11, meeting with insiders, Bob Graham, the future CIA Porter Goss,
Future CIA director.
yeah, future CIA director Dick Armitage, Mark Grossman, he was State Department. Supposedly $100,000 also wired on September 10th of 2001, and they knew that wire, and they knew of his presence in New York on 9/11. Okay, this is all weird stuff now. So we got this man wiring money to these guys. He's actually in New York on September 11th. He's wired money the day before September 11th. I would say let's investigate that. Okay. So this really doesn't ever go anywhere. A month later, after confrontation of the confirmation of the money wires and all this stuff, the meetings in D.C., General Mahmoud, he steps down. So he's like, I'm out of here.
That's why he did so well. He's got a catchy.
Good job, buddy. Yeah.
Mahmoud. It just flows.
Yeah, for real. So 9/11. This is in the Times of India, October 9th, 2001. 9/11 Commission report will later report they saw no evidence of foreign government involvement. That's on page 172 of the 9/11 Commission report. They admitted and fully denied all information brought to them about this Pakistani cheese dick, Mahmoud. So they didn't even acknowledge it. They said assigning blame here isn't important. Okay, I thought that's what we were trying to figure out, who killed these 3,000 people. So, what do we know about the terrorists? So, Ahmed Alman, Syed Al-Gandhi, they listed their address on driver's license as Pensacola Air Base, Florida. Oh, really? Okay,
So
on
when
their
you go to
driver's
the driver's
license.
license, I've been staying in hangar 4.
This is
Hey, and
this
maybe-
sounds like a joke.
Maybe they're renting. Maybe they all rented a hangar or something. You know.
I don't know, but I know I wouldn't be able to say I'm in Hangar 4 at Redstone Arsenal, Alabama. You know. Anyways, I can't even. You can't even get on these places unless you got a security. Anyways, so let's move on to Muhammad Atta. He graduated from Alabama Air Force Base, Maxwell, the Maxwell Air Force Base in Alabama. Well, that's weird. 1998 to 1999. Al Amari attended Brooks Air Force Base in San Antonio, Texas. What? Saeed Al-Gandhi, Muhammad Atta, they attended the Defense Force Language Institution at Monterey, California. Huh? Why? This was confirmed by Lieutenant Colonel Steve Butler of the Air Force. So mainstream media ceases investigation whenever they ask this simple question right here. And the Air Force responds, and they say, we're probably not talking about the same people. Okay, yeah, let's drop that. So that's a lot of unusual non-American names that are attending all these places. And the driver's license, that's a hard evidence thing of I'm on this Air Force base. All right, well, let's move on. Don't sound like nothing's there. So two hijackers, Noah Al Hogsby, Khaled Almador, they rented an apartment from and lived with an FBI informant in Lemon Grove, California. That's coincidence. September 23rd, 2001. A number of suspects reported to still be alive after the attack. That's weird. Okay. Official narrative was that these were fundamental Muslims preparing to live in paradise. Yet, weeks before the attack, a number of them were partying, drinking, strip clubs, and prostitutes, baby. They weren't going to like them 72 virgin demons that they were going to get whenever they get to Hales. Alright, Al Gahamadi ordered porn at Days Inn. I would like to know what it was for research, but Makid was spotted at the porn store being weird. That's quotations.
Sir, we've told you and told you the goat section is in the back.
Oh my goodness. They said like he would just stand there and go, have you ever seen like that weird dude from The Burbs, Tom Hanks movie where like he's like the little neighbor guy? That reminds me of it. Anyways, alright. Matterson, let's hear a quote from Matterson in Patterson, New Jersey. Says that they spotted more go-go clubs than the mosque. So yeah, I would agree with that, New Jersey governor or mayor. So August 17th, 05. What we did and what we did not know. So let's me look over this. We might skip this part. There's so much minutia, and it's all absolutely unbelievable. So this is about a security company, is a security and data analysis of ex-militaries called Orion. They were in charge of making charts and of suspected terrorists either coming to America or living in America. Muhammad Atta was smack dab in the middle of these charts.
Which I can hear W. Bush saying his name right now. I mean, he was in the news a lot. Yep. His name, maybe because it was the easiest one for him.
And he was the easiest
one for him to pronounce.
Old Captain Atta. So the Senate Judiciary hearing on Able Danger. That's what this project was called, of identifying domestic, like non-combatant terrorists. Like non-conventional is what I meant. So like non-military dudes. These are civilians, covert, living in the shadows, doing exactly what these guys were supposed to be doing. Okay, so they get witnesses called against them, and all these witnesses are threatened with having their security clearances pulled if they say one word. So one dude did say one word, and he got fired, and he had security clearances pulled, and that was that. So, so another DoD official was supposed to testify, and he was forced to destroy 2.5 terabytes of data, confirming stories in relations to, and part of this terabytes of data was information that Muhammad Atta was in America and he was doing nefarious deeds toward America. So what's a 2.5 terabytes of data? They say that is the equal to 1/4 of the entire written collection of the Library of Congress maintains. So that much evidence was this one Department of Defense employee was ordered to destroy. That's not what Obama call it. I know he has nothing to do with it, but he's a term like a clear. That's not crystal clear.
Let's be clear on this.
Well, yeah, I was thinking like clear governing. Like this is not transparent. Okay, this is not transparent. Okay, so this keeps on. This is just minutia about that Project Able Danger. Let's get on.
So anyway, it's very convenient that the little bit of evidence we had on each one of the pilots was everything, just the exact amount of stuff to identify them and make sure we knew they were Muslim terrorists.
Well, Bubba, didn't you hear it? They had a Quran.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's that. So, all right, we're done with that now. Let's move on. What was happening the day of, leading up to the day of the attacks on September 11th? A lot of war games. Okay. So between September 2000 and June 2001, the FAA would scramble aircraft 67 times to intercept aircraft. Why would they do that? A transponder wouldn't work, radio broken, etc. They were off course of their intended FAA route. They were in no-fly zones, etc. 67 times. So within 10 minutes of the start time of any of these occurrences, a military aircraft would be there intercepting. All right, that's on the average. Okay, so on 9/11, the military failed 4 times to do that in one day.
I looked it up earlier. One of our F-14s can make it from New York to LA in about 30 minutes, going Mach forward.
Mm-hmm. That's ripping it and gripping it. A little testosterone on top of that afterburner. Anyways, so right now we're in. It talks about the rise. They said we couldn't have predicted this. We can't predict this. Nobody. Bush in 2004 says no one in our government could ever envision anybody doing this. But ABC News runs a piece April 19th. I don't know if y'all have noticed, but I've said April 19th a lot already in this. What else is April 19th? Waco, Oklahoma City bombing. Anyways, yeah, I've already said April 19th. Like there's just throughout this. Anyways, here's another coincidence with that. Just pointing that out. We'll hit that in numerology. Okay. But April 19th, 2004, ABC News runs a piece showing military did plan for such an event. NORAD conducted drills 2 years before the attack of hijackers taking an airplane and flying them into the World Trade Center. And Pentagon planners also envisioned an attack on the Pentagon 5 months before it happened. But they ultimately rejected the plan, saying it was too unrealistic. So there was this. So there's a war game pamphlet going on, and it is called Amalgam, Amalgam Virgo 01. And this is a non-conventional terrorism thing, and this was to take place June 1st through 2nd, 2001. So this is just a thing for unit commanders that are participating in this war game. This is a pamphlet. It looks like Kinko's like a booklet. Okay. What's on the front cover of this book, of this non-conventional terrorism war game simulation? It's Osama bin Laden. So this is 3 months before September 11th. Okay. So multiple war games were in play on 9/11. So did these war games actually help, or did they actually hinder any kind of response to us being attacked? I don't know. Let's look at that. So 9/11. We're on 9/11 right now. It was day 2 of an exercise called Vigilance Guardian. This was a branch of Global Guardian mass exercise being run from Awful Air Force Base. It was originally scheduled for late October, but it was moved to September at the last minute. That's an anomaly. That's weird. Originally, the exercise was canceled after the second tower was hit. It says, all right, we're canceling this whole exercise right here. This was taking part, this would be like the whole northeast military bases of U.S., okay? So in this exercise, there were 4 E-4B Doomsday planes in the air as a part of this exercise. What's a Doomsday plane? That is contingency of government in case we get nuked by the Reds.
It's been going on since how long?
Yeah.
So we always keep some of these planes in the air. Before one lands, another one takes off.
Yeah. We do the same thing with B-52s with atomic weaponry. So there's always an atomic. So that way, all our eggs ain't in one basket whenever it gets nuked. At least half our eggs are going to be in the air. And but these E-4B planes, they don't go up that much, but during the exercises, they were doing real live simulations of like dirty bombs or whatever else, and basically being that. So there was a lot of these planes abnormally in the air on September 11th. There's no mention of this in the report, the 9/11 Commission report. So Barksdale Air Force Base participated in Global Guardian. So Awful Air Force Base and Barksdale. So instead of returning to DC, Bush would travel to these exact two bases before DC. That was after he got pulled away during the My Pet Goat story time for the Chillings.
That's weird that it was called My Pet Goat.
That's weird.
What do we associate the goat with? Could it be
Satan, Satan, Satan? The Baphomet.
And didn't he sit there silent for like 7 minutes or something?
Mm-hmm.
Before he said he didn't want. They asked why did you sit there so long and not say anything, and he said he didn't want to scare the children or whatever. But we may get into that in the numerology deal later. But it's kind of weird. I think. I guess maybe he was just processing it for 7 minutes.
Some what is that called? A lip reader, or somebody that is that can't hear. What's it called? Deaf. Was doing a facial analysis, and they said that he was having orgasm moments, man. At the moment, I'm just kidding.
I guess that would be more of a body language.
So anyways, that's unusual. He goes to these two bases, and that's not necessarily that unusual.
He's the commander-in-chief, so when there's military stuff goes down, he might have to run over there.
Like, I might not have, if I just got attacked, I might not return straight to Washington, D.C. either. So anyways, let's move on. Another drill is called Northern Vigilance. This was a drill of moving fighters to Canada and Alaska to monitor Russian bombers. So now in the northeast of America, where these attacks are going on, we're actually moving fighters out. This is obviously before the towers are hit, but that's not going to help in the long run. NORAD is in Cheyenne Mountain. That's in Colorado, and they were in charge of this drill. So at NORAD it's a big, as I'm understanding, it's a big radar installation, and for good reasons. It's in the center, continental U.S. It can hit kind of both coasts. They have the capability of putting inputs into military radar screens, and as far as I know, FAA radar screens. Anybody's aviational radar screens, they're able to put an input. This is a simulated aircraft. So on this day, September 11th, whenever they're actually having this war game of Northern Vigilance, radar operators at Cheyenne Mountain are putting bogies / phantoms that are called inputs onto their radar, and everybody else's radars are being feeded off of them. So now they have these weird. So this is going to be a big mess up later on. A lot of confusion is going to be caused because of this. So 3 F-16s at an Air Force base located 15 miles from the Pentagon are flown 180 nautical miles away for training in North Carolina. Tripod 2. That is a biological attack drill. It was conducted at I want to say it was at I cannot remember, it was either at it was a CIA's related office or something like that. I'm sorry, I don't have that written down, but so it was going on in Washington, D.C. on 9/11, a biological warfare attack. At the National Reconnaissance Offices, They conducted drills at 8:45 by a team of CIA agents in which a plane crashes into their building, and they have a mass casualty incident. So these are just a few of the war games that we know about, and numerous other ones were being conducted and have yet to be disclosed. So it don't look like none of that helped. So on the morning of 9/11, U.S. is conducting drills. Go ahead.
Probably should have done some of those things before 9/11, not on the exact day. But I would think if you're doing all these exercises on the exact day, there's a whole lot of things going on to cover tracks in every direction for
I understand
lots of different stuff.
So like, you know, I understand mass. You got to get, so like look at Russia right now in Ukraine. Battalion level to battalion level, they have no idea what's going on. They're having to have generals down on the front line to show their regiments which way to go because there's such a collapse in intercommunication. So I understand that these huge mass drills need to be done, but maybe not do your whole military in a mass drill, you know, and then leave certain parts of the country vulnerable, where you're flying every single F-16 or whatever, any kind of defense, aerial defense, out of this area. That's not smart.
It's hard for me to believe that we don't have some, you know, if an F-14 can go from one side of the country to the other in 30 minutes, that there's not something somewhere that could get there fast. But since they did it, 67 times in a year.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like maybe they got in there in 20 minutes.
A lot quicker than that, probably.
Yeah, I know. So in the morning of 9/11, U.S. is conducting drills where hijacker planes come in and out of radar. These are these inputs I was talking about. So on the actual morning of 9/11, they are actually conducting drills of hijacker planes being hijacked. And they announce over their system that flight whatever number 111 is being hijacked right now. And it's not even a real plane, it's a blip that NORAD put out at Cheyenne Mountain. Just keep that in mind. This is a lot to go through. And but
I mean, just like in war games, when you're not shooting, say you're not shooting a real bullet, or you're not shooting down real planes. I mean, they might. You explained to me that NORAD can put a blip anywhere they want for practicing purposes.
This is as I understand, and I'm no expert. I'm wearing a Miami Tiger Stripe CD camouflage. Okay, so you know, like I'm not like an expert on these things. I have studied a lot, and I know a lot about this kind of stuff. But as I understand, NORAD, Cheyenne Mountain, they can insert these blips / inputs and make a phantom, and other people's, the rest of the country's radars are fed off of theirs. So if he's got his computer hooked up to mine, and I put a screen filter on there, it's going to apply to yours also, right? So that's as I understand it, and that is a true thing. Look them up. Inputs. It's Wikipedia. So if that is true,
not that we trust Wikipedia.
No, yeah, exactly. But it has sources. Wikipedia's source at the bottom. So you know, say this is a half truth that I'm telling you right now, that they can do this. They did it on 9/11. That's weird, you know. So I've actually heard this a lot whenever 9/11's gone, but I heard the radar things going, is this real world? Is this simulation world? And I heard the other guy go, no, this is real world. This, you know, Flight 1193 and all the other 4 ones are actually really hijacked. They were having to distinguish, like, okay, I know that we're playing war games today, but are you being for real? You know,
which causes hesitation, causes confusion, and causes,
it's just,
you know,
you're losing momentum every minute. So at 9:45, Norman Mineta grounded all airborne craft. He's a Secretary of Transportation. By 12 o'clock, 4,000 planes were grounded safely. He testified at 9/11 Commission that he was in the bunker with Cheney, and a young staffer would keep coming in at 10-mile increments. So for this, we're talking about Flight 77. I'm pretty sure we're talking about Flight 77.
And is that the one headed towards the Pentagon?
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the one headed. Yes, exactly. That's the one headed toward the Pentagon. he would say, "It's 50 miles out, sir." And Cheney would go, "It's 40 miles out, sir." "It's 30 miles, 20 miles. It's 10 miles out, sir." And he asked, "Is the order still?" And before he could say, "Does the order still stands?" Cheney had whipped his head around and goes, "Of course it does. Have you heard anything to the contrary?" And so he's like, "No, sir." So what's the order? Well, the order was not to scramble any available F-16 to take down that flight. So that's what the order was. So do you want to take a break here? And we're 50 minutes into this video right now.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
We might make this into a two-parter.
I'd say so.
And so now we have just now left.
We've really been having that much fun.
We've been having
minutes in. Wow.
We've been having that much fun. So yeah. So everybody can
We might make
enjoy
it into
this.
4 parts.
Yeah. Anyways, we're going to just sign off now, and we'll see you on the flip side. How about that?
Sounds good to me, buddy.